year is 1987. We're in the midst of that glorious decade of greed, Thatcherism, and Reaganomics. Agony or ecstasy, depending on your point of view. It's also several years since the release of the compact disc, but crucially, also years before recordable CDs would hit the market. If you wanted to listen to a selection of songs of your own choosing, that meant only one thing: you made a mixtape. Mixtapes were all well and good for your favorite songs, but what if you wanted to listen to new tracks, or music you didn't already own? You might be lucky enough to have a friend who could make you a tape, but more likely you would sit by the stereo, finger hovering over the record button, ready to record the latest chart countdown off the radio, all the while hoping the DJ didn't ruin the song by talking over the first 20 seconds of it. There was, however, one other solution on the horizon: Personics.
Imagine a jukebox with thousands and thousands of songs. Think of all the music you'd have to choose from. You could pick the songs you want and put them in any order you want. Here's a better idea. Get them all with amazing quality sound on a one-of-a-kind, custom-made cassette. Introducing Personics. Your songs with your name and title right on it. Pop down to your local record store and discover Personics. It's got your name written all over it.
Personics was founded in Menlo Park, California in 1986. Their product, the Personics Music Maker System, which we'll just call Personics from this point on, was then released to record stores across North America 1 year later. It was essentially a mixtape maker, allowing people to choose a selection of songs to be recorded onto a tape that the customer could then take home with them. The list of available songs was available in store and also through the Personics magazine, published monthly. A record store employee would then input the selection into the Personics system, which would automatically record the chosen tracks onto cassette. The system would also print out a nice J card complete with track listing. The Personics song selection was initially good, with more than 2,000 titles spanning a wide variety of genres. Even record companies that had been on the anti-cassette, anti-piracy bandwagon licensed their songs to Personics. At least this was a system that was controlled, and more importantly, a system that had the potential to make serious money for any company whose artists were featured on it. So what was the quality like? Well, pretty damn good actually. The cassettes used TDK Type 2 chrome tape and were high quality. The devices themselves contained 120 CDs recorded in CD digital audio redbook format with a custom Dolby AC1 encoding. All recordings were made on Nakamichi cassette decks with Dolby B noise reduction, and the CDs were quick, spinning at 8 times the normal speed, meaning most cassettes could be made within 10 minutes. Personics also stored track length data, meaning it could calculate the optimum sequencing for the songs to have a roughly even fit on either side. Now, I may have just gotten my hands on a Personics tape so that I can demonstrate the excellent sound quality. This was a cassette I bought on eBay, and the previous owner had good taste. We have Don McLean, America, Harry Chapin, and the Mamas and the Papas. 4 tracks on each side. A look at the J card confirms that this is TDK tape, high bias with a digital source, and recorded with Dolby B. The J card also gives us a runtime for each song, as well as the standard copyright information. The J card is a little flimsy, being somewhere between printer paper and cardstock, but it's not too bad. The customer did have the option to put their name on the front of the J card as well, and also a title for their tape. The previous owner of this cassette kept it simple and to the point. So what does it sound like? Well, let's take a listen.
Bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, "This'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die." A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. Well, I tried to make it Sunday, but I got so damn depressed that I set my sights on Monday, and I got myself undressed. I ain't ready for the altar, but I do agree there's times when a woman sure can be a friend of mine.
Given the excellent audio quality and what a good idea Personics was, why did it fail? Well, sales started out reasonably strongly, but Personics was slow to update their available track listing. This led to a feeling, rightly or wrongly, that the selection was a bit stale. They didn't keep up with all the latest chart hits, which was problematic anyway because they would need to license every song they made available to customers. There were also issues with the price. Personics was not a particularly cheap product, and I don't just mean the system. Most songs cost around $2 each, meaning our American Pie cassette here would have cost around $16. You may have been able to choose the tracks yourself, but that was a significantly higher price than a brand new chart album would have cost on cassette. And while the audio quality was terrific, that didn't necessarily mean customers were willing to pay for it. However, the biggest nail in the coffin was the demise of the cassette format itself. Tapes peaked in popularity in the late 80s, but the fall from grace was fast and steep. People still bought tapes to make recordings, but by this time, the CD was becoming king. Vinyl record sales were down, tape sales were down, and there were new consumer recording formats on the horizon, such as the digital audio tape, the mini disc, and the digital compact cassette. Regular tapes couldn't compete with any of these new technologies, not in terms of audio quality or ease of use. And as soon as customers started to lose interest in cassettes, they lost interest in Personics. And Personics then filed for bankruptcy in 1991. Wrapping things up, I think Personics was a good product and a great idea, but one that showed very little foresight. The rise of compact discs shouldn't have been difficult to predict, which means the decline of the cassette should have also been easy to predict. Couple this with a perceived stale song selection and a product that, while good, was still very expensive, and you have a concept that many customers admired but didn't buy into. You can still find the odd Personics tape here and there on eBay, and that's where I found mine. They tend to not be so cheap, costing in the region of $10 a tape, but if you do find one, it's well worth the listen. And at $10 a tape, you'll be paying a lot less than you would have paid back in 1987.